Hello, dear friends. After taking over the external world, they now try to control the mind, which is the most intimate and private place of each person. It's not enough for them to own your body, because they want our soul. Honor is the patrimony of the soul, and the soul belongs only to God. Opinion piece. Commercials in your dreams. Companies invade the dream world. The technique is called dream incubation. Texas may become Bitcoin mecca. Texans will be able to carry guns without a license. Navy cancels its electromagnetic cannon. Russia reveals that Antarctica is not what is cracked up to be. Federal Reserve raises inflation expectations. China unveils plans for named Mars exploration. Human tripulation, European Commission approves Spain's recovery plan. Huge crocodile that has eaten 30,000 people on the loose in Africa. Gigantic ocean found 700 kilometers below the surface. Let's start. Brands like Xbox, Coors, and Burger King are teaming up with scientists to try to insert ads into consumers' dream throughout video and audio. But this week, a group of 40 dream scientists have denounced the use of these practices, calling for the regulation of commercial dream manipulation. The Esoteric and Paranormal World website reports. Dream hatching advertising is not a fun gimmick, but a slippery slope with real consequences. They write on the research community website PubPub. Our dreams cannot become just another playground for corporate advertisers. There is a long history of so-called dream incubation, in which people use images, sounds, or other sensory cues to shape their nighttime visions. People throughout the ancient world invented rituals and techniques to change the content of their dreams throughout meditation, painting, prayer, and even the use of psychedelic substances. Modern science has opened up a new world of possibilities. Researchers can now identify when most people enter the stage of sleep where much of our dream takes place, the rapid eye movement REM state, by monitoring brain waves, eye movements, and even snoring. We are facing some really worrying practices that are being used throughout movies, television, or social platforms on the internet to induce dreams. This goes far beyond mind control and could be considered an invasion of our dream world, a unique place where we can enjoy other lives and even engage in conversations with deceased loved ones. But advertising companies also want to get their hands on our dreams. It is for this reason that it's important to know how to control our dreams and thus be able to identify the advertising induced by large corporations. International. Putin and Biden are satisfied with the Geneva summit. Both presidents appreciated the dialogue that took place without hostility in spite of the disagreements. The Russian president gave a positive assessment of the summit with his American counterpart. He assured that there was no hostility, despite the existing discrepancies. Biden and Putin agreed to return ambassadors and cooperate on cybersecurity. The summit between the presidents, in which few believed and from which minimal results were expected, culminated with a reading by both leaders far above expectations, with the promise to take concrete steps in favor of strategic security and cybersecurity, while pragmatism prevailed on the issues that confront them. Russia. US recognizes Russia's role as a world power in Biden-Putin summit. The US positions Russia as a world power with the summit that took place between Presidents Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. Ignacio Bartesagui, physical doctor in international relations, told Sputnik, in quotes, Putin wins with this meeting with Biden because the US recognizes him a role as a world power to deal with different issues of the global agenda, not only domestic, said Bartesagui, who is director of the Institute of International Business of the Catholic University of Uruguay. The specialist considered that Biden intends to defend the interests of the Americans against cyber attacks, for example, but there are other issues on which we'll seek to reach agreements with Russia, such as the nuclear pact, the Middle East, among others. Fire season starts in Siberia due to extreme heat. The first forest fires are starting in Siberia. It is suspected that some have simply not been extinguished since last summer, have continued to smolder and are rekindled with the arrival of milder temperatures and drier weather. Russian authorities have already alerted the population about the extreme heat expected in the coming days. It could reach 30 degrees centigrade in Moscow, and recall that such temperatures have not been seen in the first half of May for a long time. The head of the Russian Meteorological Agency, Roman Bilfand, forecasts torrid temperatures in the northern hemisphere between May and July. Russia reveals that Antarctica is not what we are told. Russia recently revealed that there is another continent hidden under the ice in Antarctica, and many people think this is where an ancient civilization lies that fell. This is what has been said, and this is what has attracted the interest of some leaders, or some of the great leaders, Now Antarctica has a ban, and people wonder why governments choose to keep secret what is an important discovery. US. The Fed is about to shift gears. The Federal Reserve officials, increasingly confident that the economy is recovering quickly from the pandemic-induced recession, have begun telegraphing an exit from the central bank's extraordinary loose monetary policy, which so far is more dovish and will be faster than when the reins were tightened after the last crisis. Inflation expectations rise. The Federal Reserve's latest economy projections have its preferred measure on inflation rising to 3.4% this year, a full percentage point higher than its March forecast. Powell promises a clear response in inflation lengthens. Under the inflation hawk, the price of money was held in a range of 0 and 0.25% and will remain in purchases of 80 billion a month in Treasury bonds. Jerome Powell forecasts a strong rebound in inflation to 3.4% in 2021, up for the 2.4% forecast at the March meeting. Supreme Court rejects GOP challenge to Obamacare, upholding Affordable Care Act for third time. The Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a GOP challenge to Obamacare, upholding the Affordable Care Act for the third time. In a 7-2 decision, the court ruled that Texas and 17 other states lacked standing to sue, as they hadn't suffered direct injury, according to the New York Times. However, the justices didn't touch on the most important issues in the case, namely whether the majority of Obama's signature legislation could be upheld without the provision requiring citizens to obtain insurance or pay a fine. Navy cancels its electromagnetic cannon project. These powerful cannons will launch their projectiles without explosives at an unprecedented Mach 6 speed, fell victim to other advanced hypersonic missiles with longer ranges. The Navy's 16-year effort to equip its most advanced ships with very powerful railguns or electromagnetic cannons appears to be coming to an end. The Navy didn't include in its request a budget for new spending on the project, which has already spent about $500 million and promises to launch projectiles at hypersonic speeds. News from Texas. Texans will be able to carry handguns without a license. The Republican-dominated Texas legislature voted May 24th to approve the bill that would allow people to carry handguns without a license or a certifications that they are qualified to own and use a gun. And the bill was sent to Governor Greg Abbott, who promised to sign it as an affirmation of the Second Amendment rights. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed it into law, a bill eliminating most of the state's permit requirements to carry a firearm, defying vocal opposition from both law enforcement groups and the public. Texas may become Bitcoin mecca. China restrictions Bitcoin mining in its territory, forcing miners to move elsewhere. Texas could become their new paradise, writes CNBC. Texas offers the cheapest energy in the world, so it becomes a candy for miners now that China is turning its back on them. Texas bans government from closing churches and places of worship. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the bill on June 15th that prohibits government agencies from using mandates to close churches and places of worship. After the hit, Texas faces an injection of cold air. A negative temperature anomaly has been detected for Texas early next week that may affect energy prices. Extreme weather variability has stressed the state's power grid and led to an increase in forced outages. China condemns Taiwan intubations. Deploy aircraft. Beijing also sent more ships to the disputed South China Sea in what one analyst described as strategic bullying. China has said it will never tolerate foreign intervention in matters related to Taiwan, an autonomous island China claims as its home, after Taiwan reported the largest incursion of Chinese aircraft into its airspace, and Beijing sent more ships to the South China Sea. At least 28 Chinese Air Force planes, including nuclear-capable fighters and bombers, entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone on Tuesday. China launches named spacecraft Shenzhou 12 for construction of its own space station. China launched an unnamed spacecraft carrying 3 astronauts to part of a space station still under construction Thursday, in what is the longest stay in low Earth orbit by a Chinese man. China unveils plans for named Mars exploration. Elon Musk may not be alone in his desire to establish a human presence on Mars. It appears that China is also looking to get a named mission to the Red Planet and get foothold there. While unnamed missions to the Red Planet would use chemical rockets, the Chinese spacecraft that would handle the transfer between Earth and Mars would be designed to employ nuclear electric and nuclear thermal propulsion. ByteDance, owner of TikTok, lost $45 billion last year. China's ByteDance, owner of the popular social network TikTok, posted a net loss of $45 million last year, mainly due to accounting adjustments, the Wall Street Journal reported Thursday, citing a company memo. Spain. The Spanish stock market falls 0.41% while Europe advances. The Spanish stock market has erased all the gains from the opening, and 1 hour later falls 0.41%, dragged down by large stocks, those linked to commodities and banking, while the rest of the European markets advance. Wall Street closes in the red. The New York Stock Exchange closed Tuesday in the red, and its main indicator, the Dow Jones Industrials, fell 0.27%, while the Federal Reserve holds its monetary policy meeting in a context of inflationary pressures. The ultra-rich soared in Spain in 5 years. The great fortunes drive the price of prime housing, in which Madrid will grow by 3% this year and in Barcelona by 2%. The scarcity of premium product, together with the quality of life in the capital, allow to predict excellent forecasts for luxury housing in Madrid, which in 2020 could increase its value by 6%. The Commission approves Spain's recovery plan. The recovery plan presented by Spain passes the European Commission's examination. Now all that remains is for the Council to approve the first disbursement of €9 billion. This is 13% of the total and could begin to arrive at the end of July. Spain has asked for €69.5 billion. Bizarre news. Huge spider webs in Australia. Huge spider webs stretching across the land and covering fields and trees have formed near some towns in Australia recently hit by flooding. Residents in the rural region of Gippsland in the state of Victoria said the gauze-like webs appeared after torrential rains fell for several days. In one area, a spider's web covered a stretch of more than a kilometer along a road. Experts say that the webs are created by a survival tactic known as ballooning, in which spiders throw silk to climb to higher ground. Rotation of galactic filaments. Huge intergalactic filaments are in motion, invisible directly, but whose presence in space is noticed due to the influence they exert on the light emitted by other more distant celestial bodies. They are not simply moving away from or toward us, but are spinning. The Leibniz Institute for Astrophysics, based in the German city of Potsdam, reported Monday. A huge crocodile has eaten 3,000 people. Only one beast in the whole world, is accused of killing hundreds of people. Gustav, the killer crocodile in Burundi, and he has returned after 16 months without knowing his whereabouts. He is a Nile crocodile known to roam the waters of Lake Tanganyika and has been spotted several kilometers west of the Rusizi River, Burundi. Gustav is considered a true man-eater that has been responsible for the deaths of hundreds of people in Burundi. He is said to weigh more than a ton and is approximately 6 meters long. Even professional hunters are afraid of it, as every time they have seen it, there have been several deaths in the area. He is easy to spot, as he was shot 3 times and has scars as a result of hunters trying to kill him. 2 massive structures discovered 1,800 miles below Earth's surface. According to a new study, researchers have found 2 gigantic structures located 2,896 kilometers below the surface of our planet. The structures are about 100 times the size of Mount Everest, and their exact origin and composition are unknown. The huge continent-sized blocks are found at the top of the Earth's core and are now believed to be made of different material than the rest of the mantle. Also confirmed is the existence of an unknown source of oxygen beneath the Earth's mantle, and a gigantic ocean located nearly 700 kilometers below the surface. This discovery by researchers at Arizona State University is described in a paper published in the journal Nature Geoscience. One of the structures lies beneath the Pacific Ocean, while the other lies beneath the Atlantic Ocean. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.